What if I told you that the most attractive people don't need to be loud, brash, or constantly seeking attention? Imagine a person who doesn't shout for validation, who doesn't demand the spotlight, yet draws others in effortlessly. They don't rely on flashy clothes or over-the-top gestures. Instead, they have a quiet magnetism that others can't ignore. How is that possible? How can someone be powerfully attractive without saying a word? It's not about perfection. It's not about being the loudest or the most outgoing. True attraction, the kind that lasts, doesn't come from the outside in. It comes from within. It's about mastering certain habits that elevate your presence without making a scene. Habits that make people feel drawn to you before you even speak. These are the habits that change the way others perceive you without you ever needing to force it. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. You might be wondering, that sounds too good to be true. Or maybe you're telling yourself, I'm not the type of person who can just be calm and attract attention. But here's the truth. Silent attraction isn't some gift given to a few lucky individuals. It's a skill, one that anyone can learn. And once you understand it, once you start applying it to your life, you'll see a shift in how people respond to you. You'll begin to notice the subtle ways you start drawing others toward you without ever trying. Why should you stick around and keep listening? Because the next few minutes could be the most life-changing you've had in a long time. If you're tired of always feeling like you have to put on a show to get people to notice you, if you've been frustrated by how difficult it seems to truly connect with others, what you're about to hear will change that. This isn't about gimmicks or tricks. This is about tapping into your natural power, your true potential, and letting the world see you for who you really are. It's about learning how to be so effortlessly attractive that people can't help but want to be around you. But this doesn't happen overnight. It requires effort, patience, and a commitment to evolving into someone who radiates quiet confidence. And that's why I'm here to guide you through this journey, to show you the habits, the actions, and the mindset that will help you become someone who doesn't need to make noise to make an impact. You deserve to be seen, to be heard, and to be appreciated for who you are. And the best part, you don't have to shout for it. All it takes is cultivating a few simple, powerful habits that will make you silently irresistible. Stick with me, and you'll see how these habits transform your interactions, your relationships, and the way you show up in the world. By the end, you'll understand how to embody a quiet yet undeniable attractiveness and how to use it to make real, meaningful connections. Stay with me, and let's unlock the silent power within you. The truth is, the most magnetic people in the room are not the loudest. They're the ones who carry themselves with quiet confidence. Think about it. You've met them before. Those individuals who seem to walk into a room and immediately change the energy without even trying. They don't demand attention, they command it. There's no need for over-the-top gestures or dramatic speeches. They simply exist. And their presence alone is enough to draw people in. But here's the thing. This kind of attraction doesn't come from trying harder or putting on a persona. It comes from understanding. One simple, profound truth. The most attractive quality you can possess is your belief in yourself. Confidence doesn't need to scream. It speaks volumes in silence. And when you truly believe in who you are, when you trust your worth without needing anyone else's validation, others are naturally drawn to you. When you carry yourself with confidence, people feel that energy. It's in the way you move, the way you speak, and even in the way you stand. There's an undeniable calmness, a steadiness that others can sense. And that's what people are craving, a sense of certainty. In a world full of chaos and doubt, when you show up with unwavering confidence, you offer a space of calm for those around you. You make them feel safe. You make them feel secure, and that feeling is magnetic. But let's be clear, confidence isn't arrogance. It's not about acting superior to others. It's about a quiet, knowing that you are enough just as you are. The moment you realize that your value isn't tied to external achievements, appearances, or opinions, you start showing up as your truest, most authentic self. And when you do that, you start attracting the right people, the ones who see you for who you truly are, not for some version you've created for the world to see. That's the power of silent attraction. It's rooted in authenticity. And authenticity is what truly draws people in. Think about the people who you find most attractive. I guarantee it's not the ones who are constantly trying to prove something. It's the ones who are comfortable in their own skin, the ones who seem to have an effortless presence. They don't need to do anything extra. They just are. And when you embrace who you are without apologies, you give others permission to do the same. You make it safe for them to be authentic. And that's what forms the deepest, most meaningful connections. So, how do you cultivate this silent confidence? It starts with small shifts in the way you view yourself. Stop measuring your worth by the opinions of others. Stop comparing yourself to people who don't even see your full potential. Instead, start looking inward. Acknowledge your strengths, your value, and your unique qualities. Embrace them fully. The more you trust yourself, the more others will start to trust you too. And that trust, built on self-assurance, creates an invisible force field around you, drawing people in without you ever needing to exert any effort. When you begin to carry yourself with this kind of quiet confidence, you'll notice a shift in the way people interact with you. They'll approach you differently, they'll respect you more, and they'll want to be around you. Because the most attractive people are not those who demand attention. They are the ones who effortlessly command it with their presence, their energy, and their belief in who they are. That's the silent power that makes you truly irresistible. People crave to be heard. They don't just want to be listened to, they want to feel understood, valued, and respected. The most attractive individuals don't have to talk endlessly or dominate every conversation. Instead, they know the power of silence, the art of listening with intention. When you listen without interrupting, when you focus entirely on the person in front of you, you offer something rare, your full, undivided attention. And that attention, genuine, heartfelt, is one of the most magnetic qualities you can possess. In a world where everyone is competing to be heard, the person who listens becomes an oasis. They aren't distracted by their phones or lost in their own thoughts. They are fully present, soaking in every word, every emotion, every nuance of the conversation. And that's the kind of person others want to be around. People want to feel like they matter, like their words hold weight. When you listen without judgment, when you give your full attention to what someone is saying, you instantly create a connection. It's like you're saying, you are important to me. I value what you have to say. And that in itself is magnetic. But listening goes beyond just hearing words. True listening means tuning in to the emotions behind the words, to the unsaid feelings, to the body language and the energy that surrounds the conversation. It's about connecting with the person on a deeper level without needing to speak. The most attractive people don't interrupt or rush to share their own stories. They take the time to understand the person in front of them, and in doing so, they make the other person feel seen, heard, and valued. That's the kind of connection that builds trust and admiration. This level of listening doesn't come from a desire to impress or manipulate. It comes from a place of genuine curiosity and empathy. When you're truly interested in someone else's thoughts, feelings, and experiences, you open the door to deeper, more meaningful interactions. People are drawn to you because they can feel your sincerity. They don't need to perform or put on a mask. They can simply be themselves. And that kind of connection is magnetic because it's rare. In a world where people are constantly talking over each other, being the person who truly listens makes you stand out in the most powerful, quiet way. This isn't about being perfect or always knowing the right thing to say. It's about giving someone the gift of your presence. People don't always need advice. They don't always need solutions. Sometimes they just need someone who will listen. And when you become that person, you create a space of emotional safety. You make others feel comfortable, accepted, and understood. That's one of the most attractive qualities a person can have, an ability to make others feel like they matter. When you listen like this, without rushing to respond, without jumping in with your own experiences, you create an environment where vulnerability can thrive. People begin to trust you. They begin to open up and they begin to feel a deeper connection with you. And in this space of connection, there's a quiet power. It's not loud. It doesn't demand attention, but it creates a bond that is stronger than any superficial interaction ever could be. And this is how silent attraction works. It's not about doing more, it's about doing less, and doing it with intention and sincerity. When you listen with your whole being, you become the person others naturally want to be around. There's something almost magical about the way people respond to genuine eye contact. It's not just a simple glance, it's a powerful connection, a silent conversation that happens without a single word being spoken. When you look someone in the eyes, you invite them into your world, allowing them to see the truth of who you are. Eye contact is the unspoken bond that can shift the energy of a room, hold someone's attention, and create an emotional connection that words can't match. It's in that moment of shared vulnerability that something deeper is communicated, something that is felt, not heard. When you lock eyes with someone, you're saying, I see you, I am here with you, I am fully present. That kind of connection cannot be manufactured. It's authentic, raw, and deeply powerful. The most attractive people know this, and they use their gaze not as a tool of dominance, but as an act of pure presence. They don't look past others, they don't glance away in discomfort. They hold the gaze, quietly signaling that they are not distracted, not hurried, but genuinely involved in the moment with the person in front of them. This kind of eye contact is magnetic because it demands nothing in return. It is simply an invitation to connect, to engage, and to be real. This doesn't mean staring relentlessly or making others feel uncomfortable. Instead, it's about creating a space where the other person feels acknowledged and valued. It's about showing them that you care, not just about what they're saying, but about them as a whole person. When someone looks at you with that level of sincerity, you can feel it. You can feel the warmth, the trust, the openness, and it draws you in. And that's the silent power of eye contact. It doesn't need words to make an impact. It's a language all its own, one that speaks directly to the heart. The beauty of this is that anyone can master it. It's not about having perfect features or a charismatic smile. It's about being present in the moment, about being grounded in your own self-assurance. People are instinctively attracted to those who are fully engaged in the now. When you look someone in the eyes, you show them that you're not distracted by anything else, no thoughts, no worries, no outside noise. You are here with them, and that presence alone is magnetic. It's an invitation to deeper connection, to shared experience, and ultimately, to trust. When you make eye contact, you open up the possibility for vulnerability, for connection. But it's not just about the other person feeling seen. It's also about you allowing yourself to be fully present with them. It's about showing them that you are worthy of their trust and their attention. It's about breaking down barriers, creating intimacy, and fostering relationships based on true connection, not superficial exchanges. This doesn't happen through effort or force. It happens naturally when you stop trying to impress and simply allow yourself to be real. There's a quiet strength in looking someone in the eyes and letting them know that they matter to you. It shows that you're not just going through the motions of social interaction. You're truly engaging with them. And this kind of engagement is what draws people toward you. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's undeniable. And that's the beauty of silent attraction. The way you carry yourself has an undeniable power, one that speaks volumes without you ever uttering a word. Your posture, the way you stand, sit, or move, tells the world everything it needs to know about how you feel about yourself. It's one of the most subtle yet powerful ways you can show your self-worth and silently communicate your inner strength. People are instinctively drawn to those who carry themselves with poise and confidence. It's not about being perfect. It's about embodying the belief that you belong, that you are enough, and that you deserve to be in every room you enter. When you stand tall, with your shoulders back and your head held high, you send a message to the world, I am secure, I am worthy. This isn't arrogance, it's self-respect, and it's magnetic. The way you present your body tells others how they should treat you. If you slouch, if you hunch over, if you shrink yourself to fit into a space, you send the message that you don't believe you deserve more. But when you take up space, when you stand in your full stature, you show people that you know your value. You take up space in the world, and in doing so, You naturally attract the respect and admiration of others. Your body language speaks before you even open your mouth. It communicates confidence, trustworthiness, and openness. But it also shows your level of comfort with yourself and your surroundings. If you're constantly shifting your weight, fidgeting, or avoiding eye contact, it can signal insecurity or discomfort. But when you're grounded, when your movements are deliberate and steady, you create a sense of calm that others want to be around. You give off the energy of someone who knows themselves, who is in control, and who is at peace with who they are. It's amazing how much can be communicated through something as simple as how you walk into a room. When you walk with purpose, with your head held high and your steps steady, you don't just show confidence, you show leadership. You don't need to announce it. It's in the way you move, the way you own your space. This silent form of attraction doesn't require words or gestures. It's felt in the energy you bring into the room. And that energy can either repel people or draw them in. The truth is, your posture is a reflection of your mindset. If you constantly walk around with your head down, if you avoid taking up space, it's a reflection of the thoughts you have about yourself. You may not consciously realize it, but your body is communicating your inner dialogue. And when you make the decision to stand taller, to open your chest, to take pride in who you are, you align your body with the belief that you are worthy of greatness. Start today by paying attention to how you carry yourself. Notice the subtle shifts you make when you feel insecure or unsure. Catch yourself when you slouch, when you shrink in the presence of others. Instead, stand tall. Walk with purpose. Move through the world as if you are deserving of everything you want because you are. When you do this, something shifts not just in your posture, but in your presence. You begin to radiate a quiet, undeniable confidence that others can't help but notice. You become someone who silently commands respect, admiration, and attraction, all without saying a word. This is the secret. Attraction isn't about loud declarations or trying to convince others of your worth. It's about embodying it. Showing up as the fullest version of yourself and letting your body do the talking. When you stand tall, walk with purpose, and own your space, you're not just changing the way others see you, you're changing the way you see yourself. And that, my friend, is the most powerful transformation of all. There's an undeniable power in stillness. When everything around you is moving fast, when the world is constantly pushing you to do more, to speak louder, to compete harder, it's the ones who remain calm and composed who command the most respect. In a society that values constant action, stillness becomes an act of strength. It's a choice to not react impulsively, to not be swept away by the emotions or chaos that surround you. Instead, you stand firm, centered, and unshaken. This quiet strength is magnetic. It pulls people in without effort, without force. It creates an aura of calm that others find deeply attractive. Being still doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean you don't take action or move forward in life. It means you've learned to control your impulses, to be present in the moment without being ruled by emotion or external pressures. When you practice stillness, you begin to embody a sense of inner peace that others can't help but be drawn to. They sense it in the way you carry yourself, the way you navigate challenges, the way you respond to life. You're no longer easily shaken by setbacks, no longer swayed by the opinions of others. You move through life with a quiet confidence that commands respect. When you allow yourself to be still, you tap into a deeper power. This stillness is not a sign of weakness, but of control and awareness. You no longer feel the need to react to every situation, to be constantly in motion, to constantly prove yourself. You have learned to trust in your own strength, to trust that you are enough no matter what is happening around you. And when you have that trust in yourself, you become unstoppable. You become the kind of person who inspires confidence in others simply by being present, simply by being calm and composed. This stillness, this quiet strength draws people in because it offers something rare, peace. In a world that is constantly loud and chaotic, to be around someone who is at peace with themselves is magnetic. People want to be around those who make them feel calm, who don't feed into the drama or the noise of life, but instead offer a refuge of quiet assurance. When you show up with this stillness, you don't need to say a word to make an impact. Your presence speaks for itself. But mastering stillness isn't easy. It requires practice, self-awareness, and patience. It means learning to control your reactions, to not let the chaos of life dictate your emotions. It's about creating space between stimulus and response, choosing to act with intention rather than impulse. When you're still, you have time to reflect, to process, and to respond thoughtfully. You no longer act out of fear or anxiety. You act from a place of clarity and purpose, and that is a powerful place to be. The more you practice this inner stillness, the more it will permeate every area of your life. You'll find yourself making decisions with confidence, navigating conflict with ease, and handling stress with grace. You'll become someone who others look to for guidance because your calmness is contagious. People will be drawn to your peace, your strength, your ability to remain unshaken in the face of adversity. And without saying a word, you'll become a person of quiet, undeniable attraction. It's in this stillness that your true power lies. When you stop seeking validation from the outside world, when you stop needing constant movement to feel alive, you find that the most powerful thing you can do is simply be. And that is when the world begins to respond to you in ways you never imagined possible. There is an undeniable power in self-control. When everyone around you is reacting impulsively, when emotions are running high, those who stay in control of themselves are the ones who become the most magnetic. Self-control isn't about suppressing who you are or ignoring your emotions. It's about knowing how to channel those emotions with wisdom and purpose. It's the ability to pause, to take a breath, and to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting without thought. People are drawn to those who exhibit this kind of emotional mastery because it signals maturity, strength, and a deep understanding of oneself. When you have self-control, you don't allow external circumstances to dictate your internal state. You are the one in charge. No matter how chaotic or intense the world around you becomes, you remain grounded, and that groundedness becomes a powerful magnet. It's the kind of presence that commands respect. It's not the loudest or most forceful person in the room that draws others in. It's the one who remains calm, collected, and unwavering, even in the face of uncertainty. Think about the most influential leaders in the world, the ones who inspire loyalty, admiration, and trust. What sets them apart isn't just their intellect or their charisma. It's their ability to control their emotions, to think before they act, and to maintain composure in the most trying of circumstances. This kind of emotional self-control is the foundation of silent attraction. When you can control your reactions, you exude an inner strength that others can't help but admire. But self-control doesn't just come from suppressing emotions. It comes from understanding them. It's the ability to sit with your feelings, to acknowledge them, and then to decide how to respond. When you give yourself permission to feel, but also the space to choose your reactions, you empower yourself. You don't let your emotions control you, you control them. This is the true essence of inner strength, and it radiates outward. People can feel that strength. They can sense when someone is at peace with themselves, when someone has mastered the art of emotional regulation. Mastering self-control also means knowing your boundaries. It's the ability to say no when something isn't right for you, to stand firm in your beliefs, and to protect your energy from draining negative forces. When you know how to say no without guilt, when you can stand up for yourself without fear of rejection, you become a person of immense power. You stop seeking approval from others because you've already given it to yourself. This kind of self-assurance is incredibly attractive because it shows others that you are grounded in who you are. You no longer rely on the opinions of others to define your worth. You are your own validation. This level of emotional mastery doesn't just benefit you, it benefits everyone around you. People are naturally drawn to those who are in control of themselves because they offer a sense of safety, stability, and peace. They are not quick to judge, to react, or to be swept away by drama. Instead, they are a calming presence in a turbulent world, and that calmness is magnetic. When you learn to control your emotions, you create an environment where trust can flourish, where deep connections can form, and where people feel safe to be themselves. Self-control is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about committing to the practice of self-awareness and emotional regulation every single day. The more you refine this skill, the more magnetic you become. You stop chasing validation. You stop reacting to external pressures. And instead, you embody a quiet, steady power that attracts the right people into your life, the ones who value your strength, your composure, and your ability to remain true to yourself, no matter what life throws your way. That is the true essence of silent attraction, emotional mastery, self-respect, and the unwavering belief that you are enough exactly as you are. True attraction doesn't come from striving for perfection or trying to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. It comes from embracing who you are, fully and unapologetically. When you stand in your authenticity, you unlock a silent power that others can't help but be drawn to. People can sense when you are being real, when you're not putting on a facade or pretending to be something you're not. This kind of authenticity is magnetic. It radiates confidence because it signals that you are comfortable in your own skin, that you don't need external validation to know your worth. The most attractive people are not those who try to impress, but those who are at peace with their imperfections. They don't hide behind masks or play roles to gain approval. They are real, unpolished, and unapologetic about their true selves. And it's that raw authenticity that creates a magnetic presence. It draws others in because, at a subconscious level, people are always searching for genuine connections. In a world where so much of what we see is curated and filtered, authenticity stands out. It's rare. And rarity is always attractive. When you embrace your true self, you stop trying to prove yourself to others. You stop worrying about whether you're measuring up to some external standard. Instead, you focus on the truth of who you are and you let that be enough. You stop chasing after perfection because you realize that it doesn't exist. There is no such thing as a flawless person, but there is such a thing as a person who is comfortable in their flaws, who owns their mistakes, and who doesn't shy away from showing their true, messy self. This is the kind of authenticity that others respect. It's the kind of authenticity that makes you stand out in a crowd. When you stop pretending something remarkable happens, you start to attract the right people into your life. The ones who resonate with your true self, who appreciate your flaws and your strengths, who see you for exactly who you are. And that is where true connections are made. These connections are deep, real, and meaningful because they are based on the foundation of authenticity, not on the surface level masks that so many wear. But embracing authenticity doesn't come without its challenges. It requires courage to show the world your true self. It means stepping away from the need for approval, from the fear of judgment. It means being willing to stand alone if necessary, knowing that being true to yourself is more important than fitting into the mold that others expect of you. It requires vulnerability, an openness to being seen fully and completely without fear of rejection. And yet when you take that leap of faith, when you allow yourself to be seen for who you truly are, you step into a new kind of power. This power isn't loud or flashy. It's quiet, steady, and incredibly strong. It doesn't need to shout for attention because it doesn't need to prove anything. It simply is. And that beingness, that presence, becomes magnetic to others. They are drawn to you because you are unafraid to be yourself. And that authenticity creates a space where they can also be real. It's a space where vulnerability is accepted, where imperfections are celebrated, and where genuine connection can thrive. The truth is, when you embrace your authentic self, you give others permission to do the same. You set an example that it's okay to be imperfect, to be human, and to let go of the masks we so often wear. And when you lead by this example, you naturally attract people who value authenticity over perfection. They are drawn to you not because of what you do, but because of who you are. That is the silent power of authenticity. It's a strength that cannot be faked, a magnetism that cannot be manufactured. It's the kind of attraction that comes from simply being you. And there's nothing more powerful or more beautiful than that. The most attractive people are those who are comfortable in their own vulnerability. They don't hide behind a facade of perfection or build walls to shield their true selves. Instead, they embrace their flaws, their fears, and their imperfections with open arms. And in doing so, They give others permission to do the same. There is an immense power in vulnerability, a quiet strength that transcends the need for validation or approval. It's a strength rooted in authenticity and a deep understanding that true connection comes when we let our guards down. When you are willing to be vulnerable, you stop trying to control how others perceive you. You stop worrying about being judged, about measuring up to some impossible standard. Instead, you become free. Free to show up as you are, to share your true thoughts and feelings without fear of rejection. And this freedom is magnetic. People are naturally drawn to those who are open, who aren't afraid to show their imperfections because it gives them the courage to do the same. Vulnerability creates an environment where trust can flourish, where connections are real, and where people feel safe to be themselves. Vulnerability isn't about weakness, it's about strength. It takes incredible courage to show the world your true self, to admit that you don't have all the answers, to share your struggles and your flaws. But when you do, you create a space of empathy and understanding. You let others know that it's okay to be human, that it's okay to not have it all together. This is the kind of energy that draws people in because it feels real. It feels safe. It feels like a place where they can finally be seen for who they truly are without the fear of being judged or misunderstood. When you embrace your vulnerability, you stop seeking perfection. You stop comparing yourself to others and trying to live up to someone else's idea of who you should be. Instead, you embrace the truth of who you are. And in that truth, you find your power. People are not drawn to you because you are perfect, but because you are real. They are drawn to you because you are unafraid to be yourself, because you show them that it's okay to let their guard down too. Vulnerability isn't about weakness, it's about courage. And that courage is magnetic. The beauty of vulnerability lies in its ability to create deep connections. When you allow yourself to be open and authentic, you invite others to do the same. You create an environment where trust, understanding, and intimacy can grow. It's in these moments of vulnerability that some of the strongest relationships are formed. People don't connect with a perfect, polished version of you. They connect with the real, raw, imperfect you. And that connection is what makes you truly attractive. Being vulnerable also means accepting your own imperfections without judgment. It means being kind to yourself, embracing your flaws as part of what makes you unique. When you stop criticizing yourself for not being perfect, you begin to appreciate the beauty in your imperfections. You see them not as flaws, but as the very things that make you human. And this self-compassion is deeply attractive. It's a reflection of someone who is at peace with who they are, who doesn't need to be perfect, to be worthy of love and connection. And when you show that self-compassion to others, they feel safe to be vulnerable with you in return. Vulnerability isn't something to be feared. It's something to be embraced. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you open the door to deeper, more meaningful connections. You stop hiding, stop pretending, and start living authentically. And that in itself is the most powerful form of attraction there is. When you show up as your true, imperfect self, you invite others to do the same. You create an environment of acceptance, trust, and authenticity, one where the most profound connections can thrive. And that is the quiet power of vulnerability. It's not in the walls you build, but in the courage to tear them down and simply be. When you stop trying to be everything to everyone, something remarkable happens. You become more than you ever imagined. You stop losing energy trying to meet the expectations of others, and you begin to focus on what truly matters, your own sense of purpose, your own truth, your own path. People who are silently attractive don't waste their time contorting themselves to fit into someone else's vision of success or happiness. They know that real power lies in being unapologetically themselves. When you stop seeking validation from others, you create space for your own inner power to emerge. You stop measuring your worth based on how others see you or whether they approve of your choices. Instead, you align yourself with what you know to be true about who you are and what you want. This alignment is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are grounded in their own values, who don't bend to the winds of external influence but stand firm in their own identity. There's a quiet strength that comes from living in alignment with your own truth, and that strength cannot be faked. It radiates from you, pulling others in without you even trying. Living authentically means letting go of the need to control how others perceive you. It means trusting that the right people will be drawn to you, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. And when you stop trying to force connections, you begin to attract the ones that are truly meaningful. You draw people into your life who resonate with your energy, your values, and your authenticity. These are the relationships that last. The ones that feel deep and real because they are based on mutual understanding and respect, not on performance or pretense. This doesn't happen overnight. It requires courage. The courage to let go of the need for constant approval, the courage to walk your own path even when it feels uncertain, the courage to be seen for who you really are, even if it feels risky. It's about releasing the fear of rejection and realizing that the people who truly belong in your life will love you, not for what you do for them, but for who you are at your core. The beauty of this kind of connection is that it is effortless. It doesn't require manipulation. It doesn't require trying to fit into some mold. It simply requires you to be. This power is not the kind that comes from force or effort. It's the power of presence. When you live authentically, when you no longer seek to impress or gain approval, your energy shifts. You become less focused on what others think of you and more focused on how you show up for yourself. That's when you become truly magnetic. That's when your silence becomes louder than any words you could ever speak. Your confidence doesn't come from the validation of others. It comes from the deep knowing that you are enough, exactly as you are. As you continue on this journey, something beautiful begins to unfold. The noise of the world fades away, and you hear your own voice more clearly. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself or chase after fleeting validation. Instead, you become a source of calm for others, a person who moves through life with a quiet confidence that inspires those around you. This magnetic energy isn't about what you can do for others. It's about the energy you bring into every room, every interaction, every moment. It's about being fully present in the here and now and allowing your true self to shine without hesitation. When you stop seeking external approval, you step into the fullness of your power. You stop performing for others and start living for yourself. And in doing so, you attract people who are drawn to your authenticity, your strength, and your ability to simply be. This is when the real magic happens, the magic that comes from being exactly who you are, without apology, without fear, and without the need for anyone's approval but your own. This is the true essence of silent attraction, the power to be, and to simply let that be enough. There is a powerful energy that comes with being present, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally, deeply tuned into the moment. People who are truly attractive in a silent but undeniable way have this ability. They radiate a presence that makes others feel seen and heard. The most magnetic people are not those who are constantly talking, but those who know how to listen. They understand the importance of being fully present in every interaction, giving their full attention to the person in front of them without distractions, without rushing to speak or to impress. When you listen deeply, you don't just hear words, you hear the emotions behind them. You tune into the unspoken energy in the room, the subtle cues that others might miss. It's this ability to connect on a deeper level that makes someone irresistibly attractive. People want to feel understood. They want to feel like they matter, that what they say and do is seen and acknowledged. And when you listen with genuine interest, when you give someone your full presence, you create an environment where they can truly be themselves. You make them feel safe, valued, and important. And that kind of connection is incredibly magnetic. Listening isn't just a skill, it's a mindset. It's about valuing the person in front of you enough to give them your undivided attention. It's about creating space for others to express themselves without interrupting or rushing to respond. It's about holding space for their feelings, their thoughts, and their experiences without judgment. And when you do this, you don't just build rapport or gain their trust. You become a source of emotional support, a quiet force of strength that people gravitate toward. This is the kind of silent attraction that goes beyond words. It's the kind of connection that happens without you needing to try. When you give someone your undivided attention, when you listen deeply and intently, you create a sense of comfort and trust. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel heard, who don't just see them, but truly understand them. And this isn't something you can fake. It's a deep, genuine interest in others that comes from a place of self-assuredness. It comes from being at peace with who you are, so you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You simply allow others to show up as they are. This kind of listening isn't passive, it's active. It requires focus, empathy, and a willingness to be vulnerable with another person. It means allowing yourself to be present, without judgment, without distraction, and without the need to control the conversation. When you listen with empathy, you create a space where people feel comfortable opening up. They feel seen, understood, and supported, and that sense of connection, that emotional bond, is incredibly powerful. When you truly listen, you also listen to yourself. You understand your own needs, desires, and emotions more clearly. You become more attuned to your inner voice, and that alignment with yourself allows you to show up in the world with greater clarity and purpose. You stop seeking validation from others because you already know your worth, and this self-assuredness gives you an undeniable power that others can't help but notice. In every moment, there is an opportunity to connect. Whether it's with a friend, a colleague, a partner, or even a stranger, the way you show up in these moments defines the depth of your relationships. When you choose to be present, to listen deeply and fully, you create bonds that go beyond surface-level interactions. You create connections that are real, that matter, and that leave a lasting impact. This is the kind of silent attraction that lasts, the kind that doesn't rely on flashy words or superficial gestures, but on the quiet power of true presence. And when you master this, when you learn to listen not just with your ears, but with your heart, you unlock a level of connection that is impossible to ignore. True silence doesn't just come from not speaking. It comes from the ability to control your energy, your emotions, and your reactions. It's about mastering the art of staying calm and composed no matter what's happening around you. People who are silently attractive have this rare quality. They don't let external circumstances control their mood or energy. They remain grounded, centered, and unshaken, no matter the chaos that may swirl around them. And in this calm, unflappable presence, they exude a strength that is impossible to ignore. When you can stay composed in difficult situations, you send a powerful message to everyone around you. You show that you are not easily rattled, that you have control over your own mind and emotions. This level of emotional resilience is not only attractive, it is incredibly empowering. It speaks to your self-mastery and the quiet confidence that comes with knowing you are in control of yourself. No situation, no comment, no circumstance can take away your peace because you have learned to protect your inner world. This kind of emotional control isn't about suppression, it's about acceptance. It's about acknowledging your emotions without letting them dictate your actions. You allow yourself to feel anger, frustration, or sadness, but you don't let those feelings define you or control how you show up in the world. You don't let your emotions hijack your sense of self. Instead, you respond with clarity, with intention, and with the understanding that your peace is your responsibility. In moments of crisis or tension, this calmness becomes your greatest asset. You become a source of stability for others, someone they can rely on in times of stress. And this kind of quiet leadership is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are steady, who can navigate turbulence with grace and poise. There's something deeply attractive about someone who doesn't panic, who doesn't react impulsively. Instead, they take a moment to breathe, to assess, and to respond with intention. It's in these moments that true strength is revealed, not in how loudly we react, but in how calmly we respond. When you master your emotions, you stop letting the world dictate your experience. You stop reacting to every little thing that doesn't go your way, and instead, you learn to choose your response. This power is what gives you control over your interactions, over how you move through the world. It allows you to be the kind of person who brings calm to any room, the kind of person whose energy is felt before they even speak a word. But this mastery doesn't come overnight. It requires practice, patience, and a willingness to face your emotions head-on without judgment. It means taking responsibility for how you feel and recognizing that Ultimately, you're the one who decides how you react. Every time you choose to stay calm, every time you choose to respond with grace instead of reacting in anger or frustration, you strengthen this muscle of emotional control. And over time, you begin to build an unshakable sense of self, a sense of peace that no one can take from you. This level of emotional intelligence is what separates those who are truly attractive from those who are merely reactive. It's the ability to remain calm under pressure, to not let your emotions cloud your judgment, to not let your circumstances control your energy. People are drawn to that quiet confidence because it makes them feel safe. It makes them feel like they too can stay grounded in the chaos of life. And when you embody that sense of emotional mastery, you don't need to chase attention. You don't need to prove your worth. It becomes clear to everyone around you that you are someone who is steady, someone who can be relied on, someone who commands respect not by demanding it, but by being the calm in the storm. That is the true power of silent attraction. When your presence alone speaks volumes, the most powerful people are not those who dominate conversations, but those who know how to remain silent and let their actions speak for them. They have mastered the art of restraint, understanding that sometimes less truly is more. They don't need to fill every moment with words, because they understand that actions are far more telling than any statement could ever be. People who are silently attractive move through life with a quiet assurance. They don't need to boast or prove themselves. They allow their character, their integrity, and their choices to speak louder than any words they could say. This is not a power that comes from outward displays, but from deep inner alignment. When you let your actions reflect who you are, when you act with purpose and authenticity, your presence becomes undeniable. You don't need to seek validation because your actions align perfectly with your inner truth. This authenticity draws others to you, not because you're trying to be someone you're not, but because you're unapologetically yourself. People feel the sincerity in your every move, and that sincerity is magnetic. This is the power of quiet confidence. It's the strength that comes from knowing who you are and standing firm in that truth. When you stop trying to impress others with empty words or superficial gestures, you begin to attract those who are truly aligned with you. You create a space where real connections can flourish because you are no longer distracted by the need to perform. Instead, you focus on showing up as your best self, regardless of what anyone else thinks. And in doing so, you create the kind of relationships that are built on mutual respect, trust, and authenticity. When you act with integrity, when your words and actions align, something incredible happens. You stop needing to convince others of your worth. Your presence becomes a testament to who you are. It becomes clear to those around you that you are someone who can be trusted, someone who is not swayed by the opinions of others, someone who stands strong in their beliefs. And that is incredibly attractive. People are drawn to authenticity because it provides a sense of safety. When you are truly yourself, when you act with integrity and honesty, others feel that they can do the same. They can be real with you because you are real with them. And this creates a space for genuine, meaningful connections. The more you align your actions with your values, the more others will recognize the quiet power within you. It's a power that is unspoken, yet undeniable. It's the power of being true to yourself, of letting your actions reflect the depth of who you are. But this journey requires patience. It requires that you stop seeking validation from external sources and begin to trust in your own self-worth. When you stop searching for approval, when you stop worrying about what others think, you begin to see yourself clearly. You see your strengths, your potential, and your power. And in doing so, you stop feeling the need to prove yourself to anyone. Your worth is no longer determined by how others perceive you, but by the strength of your own self-belief. This is the power of silent attraction, the ability to show up as your authentic self, to act with integrity and purpose, without the need for validation or approval. When you stop performing for others and start living for yourself, you become a beacon of authenticity. You become someone who others admire and are naturally drawn to, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. And this is where true connection begins. When you stop seeking attention and simply focus on living authentically, You become the kind of person who attracts the right people into your life, the people who resonate with your energy, your values, and your truth. This is when the magic happens. This is when you realize that silent attraction is not about forcing others to notice you, but about being so deeply grounded in yourself that others can't help but be drawn to your light. The most magnetic people don't rely on flashy gestures or grandiose displays. Their appeal comes from their ability to simply be themselves, unashamedly and unapologetically. There is an elegance in simplicity, a beauty in quiet confidence. And when you embody this, when you live in a way that is true to your core, something profound shifts. People are naturally drawn to those who are not trying to be someone they are not, but instead embrace the fullness of who they are. This is the kind of attraction that doesn't require effort. It's an energy that emanates from a deep place of self-acceptance. When you stop pretending to be anything other than yourself, you stop wasting energy on things that don't truly matter. You no longer need to seek approval or validation because your worth is already ingrained within you. This inner knowing, this quiet belief in your value radiates outward, and people feel it. They may not be able to put their finger on it, but they sense your authenticity. And authenticity is a rare quality that others cannot help but admire. It's easy to get caught up in the trap of comparison. In a world that constantly bombards you with images of success, it's easy to feel like you need to measure up. But true strength comes from within, not from conforming to the standards set by others. When you let go of the need to prove yourself, you step into your own power. You stop focusing on what others are doing, and instead you focus on what you can offer. You become the type of person who doesn't need to chase after attention because it naturally follows you. The energy you give off when you are at peace with who you are is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin because that sense of inner peace provides a safe space for others to do the same. The more you embrace your individuality, the more others will be inspired to embrace their own. You become a beacon of light in a world that often feels dark and uncertain, and that light is what makes you silently attractive. This kind of silent attraction requires you to let go of the fear of judgment. When you embrace who you are fully and without apology, you no longer need to worry about what others think of you. You stop performing for an audience, and instead, you live for yourself. You begin to understand that you are enough just as you are, and that understanding is what gives you unshakable confidence. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't come from external praise or recognition, but from an inner knowing that you are worthy, you are valuable, and you are enough. People who radiate this quiet confidence don't need to fight for attention. They simply hold space for themselves. They are not concerned with seeking out the spotlight because they know that their true worth shines through without effort. It's an energy that speaks without words. And because it is so rare in today's world, it becomes even more alluring. This type of attraction isn't about impressing others or seeking approval. It's about aligning your external actions with your internal truth. It's about living in such a way that others are compelled to take notice, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. When you stop playing the game of comparison and embrace your authentic self, you unlock an inner power that is impossible to ignore. You become someone others want to be around, not because of your achievements or your appearance, but because of the energy you carry with you. This quiet power, this silent attraction, is available to anyone who is willing to embrace their true self. It's a power that comes from deep within, and when you harness it, you'll find that the world around you begins to shift. You no longer need to chase after success or attention, because when you stand in your truth, success and attraction will come to you naturally. It's the magnetic pull of authenticity, and it's the key to unlocking the full potential of who you truly are. The true power of silent attraction lies in your ability to give others the space to feel heard, seen, and valued. When you stop focusing on your own need for recognition, you begin to shift your attention outward. You listen, truly listen, to what others are saying, not just with your ears, but with your heart. You create an environment where people feel safe enough to express themselves, to be vulnerable because they know that they won't be judged or dismissed. This gift of genuine presence is incredibly rare, and it draws people in like nothing else. In a world where everyone is fighting to be heard, the ones who listen are the ones who are most powerfully magnetic. It's not about filling the space with your own thoughts, your own opinions, or your own stories. It's about allowing others to take center stage, to share what is truly on their hearts, without interruption or distraction. When you give that to people, when you offer them your undivided attention, you build trust. You show them that they matter, that their words are important, and in doing so, you become someone they can't help but gravitate towards. This kind of silent attraction is rooted in empathy. It's about connecting with others on a deeper level, seeing beyond the surface and understanding the emotions that drive their actions. When you genuinely care about others, when you invest in their well-being, you stop needing to prove your worth. Your value is reflected in the way you make others feel. People can sense when they are truly being listened to, when they are truly being understood. And in that connection, they begin to feel a magnetic pull towards you. You become a safe harbor in a world that often feels chaotic and overwhelming. Empathy doesn't just create attraction, it creates a sense of belonging. When people feel seen and heard, they are more likely to open up, to trust, and to form deeper connections. You begin to form relationships that are built on mutual understanding and respect, not on superficial pleasantries or forced interactions. And in this space, true attraction is born.